Hello, everyone. Good morning. Very good morning, actually, to everyone joining. Good morning to you, Jose. How are you today?
Good morning, Neil. I mean, Neil, you're looking a little extra rich today. It seems like you're glowing or something.
Yeah, it might be because I couldn't sleep the whole night. Too excited. Too excited for this market open.
Yeah, we should have started the live stream last night then. The 24-hour, a 12-hour till the market opens stream.
Exactly. No sleep.
Just to be, yeah. But yeah, good morning to everybody that's joining us. We got good morning AOP, good morning P, good morning Hookdom, good morning everybody. We have a great morning today. A lot of excitement in the AI market. We have earnings coming up. Yeah, let's just start it off, Neil.
Yeah, in case people slept early yesterday, we've had a pretty big thing come out after the market closed, and it is Nebius related. Now, as you can see, Nebius right now before the market opens is up 54%. Yes, we are close to $100 per share for Nebius before the market opens. At one point, the stock was actually up 68, 69%, and then down to 40%. But now it seems like pre-market up 54%. I mean, when the market opens, we can go even higher. My hopes is we go a little bit lower so we can still be adding more shares. But what has happened is this. Nebius announces multi-billion-dollar agreement with Microsoft for AI infrastructure. I do hear myself, I think, in an echo. I think. Yeah, better. So that's a deal worth $17.4 billion, could be worth up to $19.7 billion. This is a 5-year deal. So, I mean, it's huge. It's $17.4 billion. Nebius yesterday, when the market closed, was worth $15-16 billion. This is a deal worth more than Nebius on Monday. Now Nebius is going to be worth, of course, closer to $24 billion in market cap. And this deal significantly enables significantly more aggressive growth for Nebius in 2026, which means not only is this deal bringing in more money just from that deal alone, but this would, of course, allow the company to grow much faster and attract more deals in the future. Because, and that's not me saying it, Arkady, CEO of Nebius, he says it right here. I'm happy to announce the first of these contracts, and I believe there are more to come. And I do think more will come. Now, I did make a couple of posts yesterday because I had to go back and look at the transcript for Nebius, because I did remember that they said something quite interesting. There were 2 times where hyperscalers were mentioned during the Q2 earnings call, so not that long ago, I think just a month or so ago. Number 1 here, base case calls for $7 billion in revenue in the midterm. This is something that they told us already in Q1, several $1 billion revenue midterm, so the next couple of years. And they said it quite clearly here. This excludes any large deals from either frontier AI labs or hyperscalers. Those transactions would be considered incremental to this guidance I hope everybody is gathering that our ambition is to grow much larger and much faster. And we are laying that foundation with the 1 gigawatt capacity that we are deploying. Then, number two here, same thing. And this is Arkadis' answer. An analyst was asking about them getting large contracts from hyperscalers, because we've seen CoreWeave get some contracts. We've seen, of course, more recently TeraWulf, FluidStack, and Google. And so here, Arkadis said the same thing. We see a lot of this demand coming from top tier AI labs. We actually believe, what did they say? I actually believe this will increase in the future. Millions of new GPUs are coming to the market next year and beyond. In order to capture this demand and actually answer the question, what we need to do, we are doing the main thing. We are increasing our capacity, significantly increasing our capacity. And this is what will allow them, this deal with Microsoft will allow them to increase that capacity even more and more. They did also mention during the call that they have identified 2 extra greenfield areas. We don't know specifically where that will be, but that could be adding to what's going to happen in 2026. And I wouldn't be surprised if both or one of those 2 new locations are also going to be part of one of these huge deals, whether it's going to be another hyperscaler or maybe a frontier AI lab, remains to be seen. But the signs were there. The signs were
Yeah, one thing here that you didn't have highlighted, but it's under there. It's they mentioned that the projections here for this year midterm does not include any of those big accounts or those
correct.
big deals. So that's already an additional positive to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, 14, it's a bit above $3 billion a year that you add on top of what they thought would be the midterm guidance. But now we know it's going to be a minimum of that 3.2 $3.4 billion, depends on how much you're willing to take the upside here. But yeah, it's huge. It's a huge deal. And I know people will say, yeah, it's probably too late to buy Nebius right now because the stock is up tremendously. It's now worth over $20 billion, $23-24 billion or so. But I don't think so. Because if this move would have happened, let's say we are at $100, but there is no deal, then yeah, I would say, okay, maybe we're a bit stretched right now. But the reason we are there is because they've added a whole new Nebius market cap deal just like that. And that's just the first one, where we're not talking about additional enterprises like they've had with Cloudflare or Shopify. We're not talking about frontier AI labs or any other hyperscaler there. We're just talking about, of course, one of the biggest companies alive is Microsoft. And I mean, we're only in 2025. We're only in 2025. I think we're going to see way more deals in the future. Might not be tomorrow, of course, but I would be surprised if we're not going to get another huge deal like this in the next 12 months.
You know, the Biden facility, Neil, is about like an hour and a half drive. Maybe I should take a drive down there to see how it's coming along. Do some boots on the ground analysis. The CoreWeave also has one in New Jersey that they're building in Kenworth, and that was like a 10-minute drive. So
You know what to
maybe I
do.
could, yeah, I no, take the drone out for a bit. Neil, John Doe here. Nebius deals making all other names rise too. Very true, right? I mean, do you see this? Obviously extremely bullish for Nebius, but would you understand why there's the bullish sentiment for all these other players?
Yeah, so maybe we'll start with Applied Digital. Of course, Applied Digital had that previous jump in price because they already got a big deal previously, right? That's the reason why this thing is up so much. When we look at, so I'm not surprised to see the stock go back up again. Stock went up quite significantly. Now we had a healthy pullback, and with this news on Applied Digital is up. Iren is another name that is up, although this one is also one that has gone from $5 to $30 in the last couple of months. Also pulled back a tiny bit after a nice jump after the earnings report and call, which were extremely bullish. Now it's up, I believe, 10% or so before the market opens. This is a $7.5 billion company or so. I do own some shares there, full disclaimer. And yeah, the thinking behind this is, okay, we know the Iren business is, of course, from Bitcoin mining, which is very profitable for them. They're going to switch to AI cloud business. It's going to take a while, right? You need to prove yourself. That's, I think, something that a lot of people are missing, is that, oh, if Nebius got such a big deal from Microsoft, then why shouldn't Iren get the same? Well, again, Nebius, the team behind it, has decades of experience, thanks to their time at Yandex. Iren, their experience is, yes, of course, building highly efficient Bitcoin mining rigs. But when we're talking here about AI cloud business, it's a bit different. Like you talked about this yesterday when you said that on the semi-analysis ranking, I think number one was CoreWeave, number two, you had a couple of them, and then Nebius was in that number two category, and Iren was still quite low, which makes sense because they're unproven right now when we're talking about the AI game. But when we're talking about contracted, connected, future potential connected energy capacity and all of that, Iren is definitely up there. And at the end of the day, yes, I do see Iren getting quite a big contract for just the bare metal side of things, because essentially that's what a lot of these big tech companies will need. And so the market is right now, again, maybe front running these things, but it makes sense. It's not a question of if they'll get a deal, it's a question of when. And if we go back and listen to the Iren earnings call, they talk about this in a very positive way. They talk about this, look, we're not just going to sign any co-location deal or whatever. It's going to be a deal that makes sense for us, where the ROI is good, where the margins are good, which is also what we've seen now with Nebius, right? The terms of this deal is lucrative for them. And I think that's something that we're going to see with Iren. Iren also had their monthly update yesterday. I know a lot of people were expecting huge updates when it comes to the GPUs that are maybe already online, etc., etc. We did not get that just yet. I do think we're going to get that, of course, in the back half of this year. And that's, again, something that probably the industry is waiting to see. Okay, let's see how many of these GPUs you can get online, how efficient they are going to be, and then we're probably going to see some deals. I'd be surprised again with Iren if we're not going to see a big deal in the next 12 months. And then we have CoreWeave.
And the main and the main reason is, right, we're kind of power constrained or compute constrained. So compute constrained. Oh, excuse me. We're power limited. So all these companies just need to find ways to kind of build these power shells or invest in some of them one way or another. So I think this whole market, is going to continue to see a nice bullish trend. I mean, CoreWeave yesterday was up 6% on the day, and then another kind of 5% after hours. So about 11-12% on the day with pretty much no real news. So not bad for a lot of these big players.
Yeah. Quickly, shout out here to Adi, I think, for the super chat. Thank you for that. Well, first of all, to everyone that is a Nebius shareholder, we were happy to provide the information over the last couple of months on Nebius, but you were the one that pushed the buy button. So congrats to you for doing that. Now let's hope for a good inflation number. I mean, depends. If we want to buy more shares, then I guess we should hope for not that great inflation numbers. But I do still think we're going to get a rate cut anyways in September. And also a special thanks to Magusto for becoming a lazy boy investor. Quickly touching on this, and I think, Jose, you can touch on that as well. They brought in multiple high-ranking officials for the new business model. Bringing in high-ranking officials for the new business model is one thing. Delivering, executing is, again, I'm not bearish since I own shares, but it's a whole other story. You're not going to get like a $10 billion contract when you're new to these things. Like, clients will need to see results before they jump in. Again, this is an advantage with Nebius when you've got decades of experience, when you had the Yandex.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Neil, that I don't think you're going to get contracts just for having the high-ranking officials come in and you're completely transforming the business. The only thing you do have on your side, though, with some of these new players, Neil, is just it's a constrained market. So and at the same time, these hyperscalers don't want to just work with one player, right? Let's say if Microsoft only works with CoreWeave, they know by that just putting all the money into CoreWeave, CoreWeave itself would be a bigger company. So just like any company, you don't never want to put all the money in one competitor, because then that competitor can become a true competition, or can become a real big player to say. So I think Microsoft here is first just saying we need more power compute. We don't just want to work with one guy, because that one guy might eventually become big. So we have to make sure we diversify amongst that as well. And if those two guys aren't enough, then we have to start looking at maybe the watered down versions. Which I'm not saying Iren is a watered down version, but just from recent analysis done by Semi-Analysis, they did their tier level and they put Iren one of the bottom. So they done a little bit more boots on the ground. I'm gonna trust them a little bit more than maybe just reading an earnings transcript, or management saying, look, we're actually really good at that. Sometimes boots on the ground helps a lot with it. It doesn't mean they can't change, and things like this you can train over time. But I think just high ranking officials can't make a business, but it's definitely in the right direction. You're taking it in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, no, agreed. And with CoreWeave, and by the way, for everyone that is joining us,
Before we go into core with you, I had one question for you on Nebius.
yes.
With this deal, they kind of mentioned it in their SEC filing that they're going to use kind of portions of the initial prepayments pretty much for
Hmm.
financing. As a CoreWeave investor, which would you prefer? Obviously, that prepayment is not going to be the full amount to buy all the GPUs, because if it was, Microsoft could just do it itself. It has to be way less than that. As a Nebius shareholder, would you prefer them to dilute shares, or would you prefer for them to build debt to finance the rest of what would be needed for the GPUs? And would you be a bear against either or case?
Which one will be accretive to earnings per share? That's the question, right? So whichever they choose, because you can have dilution, but if it's dilution where it increases earnings per share, then it makes sense. This is exactly what we've seen with SoFi a couple of weeks ago. Huge panic, yeah, dilution, but it's dilution that, well, earnings per share are going to grow. So it's not really dilution at the end of the day, because your earnings per share are going up more. And so again, with this deal, I guess it's up to them what they think is the best way to go forward. Whatever they choose, I will of course look at the explanation. If it makes sense, then it makes sense. If it doesn't, then I'll say, okay, maybe it didn't make any sense. But dilution right now, in order to grow much faster and make us a better, stronger company, I think makes sense. And we've seen that with not just Nebius, right? We've seen that with plenty of other companies out there.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I
I mean,
agree. I think whichever way they go, it would be they know the business, right? They know what would be the best for them. I just want to kind of to word that question to prepare, because I know a lot of investors might be expecting that this whole prepayment is going to be enough to cover the infrastructure build out, and it's really not. It's going to be able to cover initial and then use that money coming in to pay either that debt or however much they decide to, whatever they decide to build it out. Um, but some people are asking for dilute so it can create a sell off if they can get in.
yep. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe we might get that. But talking, first of all, to everyone that is joining us today, thank you very much for choosing White, Amit, and Jose to open the market with you.
Can I be
Really
Hispanic?
appreciate
I
that.
mean,
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I do believe that Amit is flying, because I think there is the Robin Hood event today, so I assume he's going. He's going to that, if I'm not
well, it's pretty cool
mistaken.
because he was just at a Palantir place, right?
Yeah, the guy is everywhere. The guy is
He
everywhere.
must be
But
nice
like,
to be loaded.
yeah, but like I said last week, the guy can fly each and every day, so we can open the market. um, did you see this? CoreWeave launches venture arm to invest in AI. CoreWeave rolled out CoreWeave Ventures, a new unit to invest in AI companies beyond capital. It will offer founders access to its AI optimized cloud, testing clusters, and strategic support. Early partners include model developers and vertical AI startups like Moon Valley. Do you see this as another part of the Nvidia flywheel here?
I mean, yeah, which is funny, right? Because CoreWeave is part of NVIDIA's flywheel. Now, Nebius is creating its own flywheel as well. I would be curious to see if kind of NVIDIA is part of this process somehow. But it just makes sense for me. So CoreWeave, what they would go is like, hey, they go to a small AI lab, so a small AI company, start using our product. We'll maybe give you 100 GPUs for free. Anything after 100 GPUs or whatever number, just a very low number you get for free. Whatever more, you start paying us. Now, there could be some small thing. Once you reach X amount of revenue per year, now you have to start paying us. And for them, they're trying to get people into that stickiness, I guess, of knowing the CoreWeave platform. Once you know the CoreWeave platform, if you become this major AI lab, now you're going to start renting out from them like crazy. And that's where I think CoreWeave, it makes a smart deal. I think independently with what you're going with, Neo, it's CoreWeave is pretty much an NVIDIA machine, right? It's all NVIDIA GPU clusters. So now you're getting filled with the NVIDIA ecosystem as well. So I think it's an interesting play. I would love to see kind of obviously I don't want them like renting out 10,000 GPUs for free to some random AI lab, but I think it's going to be more like some small cluster that they might have, and maybe they can write it off as donations or something to small companies. I think it makes sense. I don't know if it's something that should move the stock. If I may be honest, I don't think it's a market mover, but it's definitely a good direction, maybe for the long term for both the ecosystem of CoreWeave and Nvidia. Thoughts
Yeah,
on your end, Neil?
I mean, it's a bit like the same model that we've seen with AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. If you're a small startup, you get like X amount of credits for free to get things going. And I can see the reasoning behind this CoreWeave move as well. It's again locking people into the ecosystem. We've seen the acquisition last week that they've made. That small company that they've acquired. So again, I see this. I've seen. I think last year Google Cloud did this quite aggressively. Like they offered, I don't know, thousands and thousands of cloud credits for startups. And of course, once you use all of that for free, you're already integrated in the ecosystem and you're very unlikely to start switching to somewhere else. So I see this again as a positive thing. Some people will say, oh, but this is just NVIDIA funneling GPUs to OpenAI, OpenAI funneling the GPUs and the money to CoreWeave, and CoreWeave is now funneling those GPUs to the smaller startups, and the flywheel goes round and round and round. And I mean, you know what? It might be true, but if it works, it works. Like it's an ecosystem. So if the ecosystem works and companies become bigger thanks to that, then why not?
And I just don't get that thought process, though. I know it's like this is illegal. I mean, every Google, right? Gemini goes back into the TPUs. The TPUs go back into Google Cloud. The Google Cloud then goes back into investing in more TPUs, and the list goes on and on. It's just a typical business thing. As long as you're actually making real revenue out of it and real earnings, it's the way most businesses should be. It should be a flywheel effect of using one thing to just build the platform over and over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. It's people hating, but then again, we've
Yeah.
seen.
Neil, I
That
want to
before.
take this question. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. So, what if Core's investors vote down the CoreWeave deal and CoreWeave has to give them a lot better deal on the numbers of shares they got? How much dilution and how much would CoreWeave drop? So, first, I think the deal with CoreWeave and Core is not something that is a CoreWeave need. They already are renting out all of Core's, pretty much all of Core's power shells. This was just a way to kind of maybe reduce the middleman margin. Um, so I don't think it's a completely destruction if the deal doesn't go through, because they are still have these multi-year deals with most of Core's allocation. Um, ha- I think, if I may be honest, Core's investors right now are just not excited because CoreWeave's stock price has declined. I think in the far future, if they end up changing the deal where they get some cash and just a little bit less shares instead, maybe get, hey, instead of just a pure stock deal, I get a cash and some stock deal. I think long-term investors are going to regret that. I do believe CoreWeave has a lot better valuation opportunity than just cash at the moment. But I think I don't know. Um, I don't think it would hurt CoreWeave too much. Maybe in the short term, it would create some movement or noise. But I think in the long term, they already have a lot of those contracts with cores. So even if they don't own the company, they are still renting out the a lot of that PowerShell that cores provides.
Question, because they have that, what was it, $10 billion contract with them over the long term, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So that contract stands until they get acquired, I guess, right? Because if they don't
Yeah.
get acquired, then
Mhm.
they still have that contract. It's not like it's canceled already today.
Exactly. So that's why even if it gets
Okay.
canceled, they still have it. And it's not like they're going to be saving $10 billion with it because that $10 billion already includes kind of like the running of the infrastructure. So it
Mhm.
includes kind of like the power bill. So the actual savings behind it is maybe like a few team percentage, which is still pretty important. It's still probably a low $1 billion, which is still great. But it's not like they're completely saving $10 billion, right? To run those power shells still cost a lot of money. You still have to pay the people to run it. You still have to pay the utilities. You still have to maintain the property, and that's where that $10 billion deal includes all of that. Um, so yeah, it seems I think the market would react negative to it for the short term, but I think it's the long term. It's not necessarily a big thing to worry about.
You have here a super chat for you and a question.
Oh man, Nebius at 65, just 1% of portfolio. Sell, hold, or buy more. I mean, I'm going to continue to say this, Neil. I'm pretty excited for CoreWeave. I think this whole market is pretty great. I think the AI infrastructure, we heard it from Jensen. I think once we did Nvidia's earnings stream together, the first thing we said was, this makes me excited for the data center infrastructure space. We are still in early innings. Nebius for here. I mean, I think in this whole market, dollar cost average, Nebius, heavy dollar cost average CoreWeave. For me, that's my thought process. Heavy dollar cost average CoreWeave, dollar cost average Nebius, if that makes sense. Extremely heavy cost average CoreWeave.
Yeah,
Extremely heavy.
I'm
Because I mean
putting
that
Nebius on top, then CoreWeave, and then
because I mean to me, Neil, now you're thinking about it right now. Nebius is worth what, $25 billion or so.
yeah,
What is CoreWeave worth right now? 47?
probably close to 50 with the pre-market. No?
Closer, let's say 50. All right. So two times, CoreWeave is two
Mhm.
times bigger than Nebius. But looking at just power contract, connected power by the end of this year, CoreWeave is expected to have 900 megawatts. Nebius is expected to have, I think, 200. 200,
220, but yeah, but
220.
yeah.
So 200. So about four, let's say 200, let's say a 2.2, 220. So about 4 times bigger. So CoreWeave has 4 times more power available than Nebius, and it's only 2 times more expensive. And I do believe at the end of the day, right now, it's all about active power. So that change there allows me to believe that maybe CoreWeave is a little bit more attractive for me as for the full AI infrastructure market.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, that's why you got me into CoreWeave. I mean, it needed to pull back 50% in order for me
Yeah.
to pull the trigger, but it makes, I mean, it makes sense. I explained it when I opened the position. I said, why go against the tide when you can just ride it? Especially after huge pullback, the fact that they are very very well connected. Um, what's the point of going against that? And we do already have one or maybe two. I can't find the second one, but Goldman here with a buy rating on Nebius and a $77 price target, which is
They nailed it. They nailed it. They're so good, Neil.
I guess they didn't refresh their page when they released this, because $77 is $20 less than where the price is at right now. And this note is of course very bullish, but the price target, I guess they forgot, maybe it's a typo, maybe it should have been $97. Um, but yeah, I do think we're going to see. That's also the thing with this contract. It's not only the money that comes in; it's the recognition, because it's Microsoft, and now Wall Street is probably going to pay a lot more attention to Nebius, because it's still a name that, despite us retail investors being quite knowledgeable about it, not that many analysts cover this company at the moment. And so I do think we're going to see a lot more coverage of Nebius in the coming months and quarters for sure. Um, quick shout out here to Somesh for the super chat. Which business model is better long term? Iren Nebius rents out GPU compute. Nebius also has the software side, or TeraWulf AI data center landlord, no GPUs. Your thoughts on Wolf? I mean, Wolf also has they have Fluid Stack and Google behind them or with them. I mean, to me, which, the positions are quite clear. I think Nebius is the way to go, but I also own CoreWeave and Iren, so I think what they're doing is also a good way. TeraWulf, again, there is probably a very good reason why Google is backing this play, other than they wanted to maybe expand their TPU ecosystem. But yeah, your thoughts here?
I would say, Neil, in the current landscape, all of these can definitely benefit. In the current landscape, the TeraWulfs, the AI data center landlords, I think those are probably the favorable for a lot of the big tech players, because they have to worry about less margins. These hyperscalers, they know how to build AI compute. They know how to build AI servers. For them, I think like the TeraWulfs make the most sense for them, because they know they're going to get this pretty much at a lower margin product. So in the current landscape that we're in, which is power compute, all of these can benefit. I can see why maybe people will be excited for TeraWulf. I think in the long term, I think your Iren, your Nebius, and I'm not too familiar with Iren, so I don't know if I want to put it in there, but like your CoreWeave and Nebius have a better opportunity long term. Now, with Nebius, one thing that you mentioned, right? They do have kind of like that AI studio. So that puts them even a little bit better in even a long-term mentality, like long-term, because they do have a lot of those AI studios. Now, you could kind of argue that CoreWeave is kind of following that same suit with recent acquisitions. I know they made the acquisition a little bit, about a week ago. And you can also kind of make the argument that Nebius, with this renting out of GPUs to Microsoft, is more becoming like a CoreWeave for this product than a typical Nebius. Because with something like this with Microsoft, it would be very unlikely for Microsoft to rent out a lot of the AI studios. And it's not necessarily pure bare metal, but it's going to be more on the lower margin side of a GPU as a service. So I think if Nebius continues to win stuff like this, Nebius is going to start looking a little bit more for these deals like a CoreWeave. And when it becomes to like the smaller enterprises, those are going to be more like that full AI stack solution. So I think current market, all of these could win. Long-term opportunity and just the flexibility of the market. I like the pretty much like you rent out the GPU compute with some software stack solution on top available with it.
Yeah, and a lot of people asking about Applied Digital. I don't know, do you still have your small Applied Digital bet, or has
Apply
that been consolidated into CoreWeave?
CoreWeave, everything to CoreWeave. Right now, everything is into CoreWeave.
So
Well,
I
not
think it's
everything, but yeah,
yeah,
but
but a lot has
but
been
those bets,
consolidated. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, those yellow bets, yeah.
No, I still have a small Applied Digital position. I think Roberto here is still with me. If Roberto is still in the chat,
He should
we
be.
still have a small position in Applied Digital, but it is way smaller than Nebius, CoreWeave, and Iren for me. And it is up significantly. I think we bought it at $9.70 or something like that. I think when we opened that, when we streamed,
960, yeah,
yeah. So
960.
that has been performing quite well. Plus, it made sense because they already had that announcement of the $7 billion 15-year deal. Actually, more, right? Because they did say that CoreWeave did add that option for more. So that was already $400-500 million of revenue per year, and the market cap was just so small that it didn't make sense not to buy it. But we'll see if Nebius does get a little pullback. Switching from Amit talking at 4xp to Michel. I mean, when I post videos, people complain it's too fast, but in the live streams, I guess I get to talk a little bit slower. It helps, especially when we see stocks crash. So it's like a therapy session.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry for interrupting. Did you finish your thought? Because I do have a comment here. I wanna take.
Go ahead.
So Rick is asking Neil, Jose, this move by Microsoft, does it mean major cloud service providers are scaling back their own build-up, seeing slowdown potentially? I don't think so, Rick. I mean, just from the last earnings that happened a month ago, it seems like forever ago, all cloud service providers said one thing: they're increasing capital expenditure and they're still compute constrained. I think these expansions with these cloud service providers and with these kind of neo clouds is just them trying to hedge to make sure they have plenty of AI compute available to them. The great thing is this is like a lease for them, right, Neil? This is pretty much like leasing. So they're going to lease these out for 5 years. 5 years, they can say, look, do I need a new car? Am I going to lease again? Or am I happy with the compute that I personally have? So this is kind of a great way. This is from Microsoft. Yeah, in today's world, we are forced to do co-location deals. So in the current landscape, at least for the next 5 years, depending on how AI continues to innovate, and if it continues to innovate even more, Neil, I think more deals like this are going to happen more often. So I don't see this as a slowing down in their own infrastructure. It's just we are power constraints. And the best way to build up infrastructure as quickly as possible is to work on these co-location deals with companies like CoreWeave, like Nebius, like Iren, like TerraWolf, and the list goes on. So it's a hedge in a long way. It's definitely a great hedge, right, Neil? Because one, it hedges them to have massive computes for the next 5 years. And if for some reason in the next 5 years AI demand slows down, they just don't have to rent it out again, and they're back to whatever they have. So yeah, I think it's more of a hedge looking in the bullish side of the AI market.
Do you want to answer Andreas' comments real quick? I do want to pull up something from CoreWeave, but he says here, CoreWeave loses 24 cents on every dollar in sales. The company has a working capital deficit of $3.6 billion plus long-term debt of $10.6 billion. Its only asset is Nvidia GPUs, which depreciate rapidly. The company survives on raising debt to fuel its losses. Your thoughts, and I'll pull up a slide.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a way to look at their balance sheet. Right. If you look at just their balance sheet like that, you're kind of looking at a scary debt. The company has talked about it, how they build up this debt on pre-made revenue that they're going to make over time, and that's going to be free cash flow positive over time for those deals. So GPUs, they've talked about it in the past, right? They talked about they're using Ampere and Volta still on their GPUs, which are 4+ years old. I know one of the things that many people kind of talk negative about CoreWeave is they have a 6-year depreciation on GPUs, but if their GPUs are actually working for 6 years, it makes completely sense. And it doesn't really change too much outside just the bottom line number of when you kind of pay some stuff off. 6 years, I think, is still fine as long as those companies are making revenue. Or those GPUs are making revenues. I think the story is going to change pretty quickly as this company has built up massive amount of infrastructure. And here you can kind of see it right here, the contract mechanics. So initial prepayment, you have the initial prepayment coming in, and that's the inflow of money coming in. So just kind of thinking about this Microsoft and Nebius deal, this is how it's most likely going to go down. Microsoft gives an initial prepayment. That prepayment is used to secure purchase orders of GPUs. It's not going to cover all the GPUs. Now, what ends up happening month 3 and kind of the rest of the year, you're going to be paying a heavy amount of debt on that cash payment for the GPUs and other infrastructures. So you're going to see a massive, massive outflow. Then you also have in the month 3 to 5, you have the installation period. So you also have an outflow as you're paying your engineers to set up these massive systems. And during that time, right, Neil, you're not getting any form of revenue coming in from the systems. You've had almost a year where the system, here they say 6 months, 6 to 9 months, where you've made these massive large debt payments but you're not getting any money because you can't just buy a GPU and connect it, and the next day you have it working. So you have that about 9 months or so period. Then after that, that revenue starts to get recognized, and you're coming in with more money in those monthly payments than the outflow coming out. And eventually, after you start done paying, now you have just money of inflow coming in. So this is the way you need to understand these, because these AI infrastructures, are hundreds, some could be hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars per just massive scale systems. So this is a great way to understand just the core mechanics. I feel like this business model is going to be followed throughout every other big player as well. So in the upcoming 2 months, 2 quarters, I think by the end of quarter 4, you're going to start to see a lot of that monthly payment coming in pretty strongly for CoreWeave.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand I mean, Andreas points and plenty of other people's point here about the debt, but they explain it pretty clearly. What's the game plan here? They put this in place in order not to overbuild, and debt is not always bad, right? All of the big companies have a lot of debt as well. Oracle, I don't know if people know, but Oracle has a shit ton
Massive
of
debt.
debt,
Yeah,
insane
massive.
amount of debt. Do we think that Oracle is going down? Probably not, right? Probably not. So why? I mean, that can sometimes be a good thing to have in order for you to, of course, to grow your business quite substantially. But yeah, at a certain point, you want that debt to come down. But with CoreWeave, I do think that the debt red flag is a bit overblown, in my opinion. Of course, things can change in the future, and suddenly, if CoreWeave just does drop behind, which I highly doubt it will, because of their connections and the contracts that they have in place, then yes, we might start to talk about, okay, maybe there is an issue here. But I don't think we're going to see that.
And Joseph here is wondering, Couch Jose, is there any difference between the profitability of Nebius and CoreWeave, or is it too early to really tell? I do think it's still too early to really tell, right? Because I think CoreWeave is building these massive AI infrastructures that it seems like they might be in forms of just active power. I think we can safely assume that CoreWeave is a little bit ahead in the infrastructure build out, but it's still not there with the collection of revenue, as it takes time to build the systems. I think Nebius has, then they both have some great amount of at least power already and revenue coming in. We've seen those massive revenue growth. But compared to the future build out, I think it's still very early to tell. I know we have Nebius that typically could be higher margins because it does have that kind of AI stack studio. But how does that change if it starts to get more deals like Microsoft? So I think it's still too early to tell. In where they're at right now, in the stage that we're at right now, Nebius is definitely one that can have better profitabilities than CoreWeave. But I think with deals like this is a market that can change pretty quickly, and those numbers on balance sheets, on income statement, can also change just as quickly. So the bullish thesis that we might have, yeah, a quarter ago could change a little bit in the next 2 or 3 quarters.
Agreed. Agreed. For those wondering why United Health is up pre-market, we do have some analyst price targets that are some a bit higher than the price we're at right now. Plus, they did reiterate guidance. So they reaffirmed 2025 EPS while noting that the acquisition of Amadeus, or whatever it's called, will be modestly dilutive due to financing and integration costs. But I guess it's again better than feared, so that's why the stock is up a little bit right now. We do have another crypto treasury story here for those that are interested in that, and it's another pretty crazy story. And yes, we will do, of course, the market open. It's going to open in 16 minutes. Pre-market looks greenish, but I do think we do get some macro data today. Tomorrow is inflation, and Thursday is tomorrow is CPI, and Thursday is PPI report, if I'm not mistaken. Um, thanks, June. We really appreciate
You can
that.
only choose one.
But yeah, here we have another crypto treasury. Caliber said it made its first purchases of Chainlink tokens as part of a new digital asset treasury strategy. And pre-market, it's up 1,157%. So, yeah, nice. And this is a Nasdaq listed firm, and we've read last week that Nasdaq might change some rules with regards to those crypto treasuries. Bitmine, which is the Tom Lee chairman company, is on the New York Stock Exchange American one, which might not be facing the same scrutiny. Although I do think that if the Nasdaq does decide to do it, it makes a lot of sense because you do not want to have scammers scamming people. So yeah, 10 a.m. jobs data revisions. I do believe we do have something like that today. Yes, revisions.
Neil, I wonder if the way I feel like when you talk about tokens and crypto and digital assets is how people feel when I sometimes talk about some in-depth semiconductor company, because everything just goes over my head with all these digital treasuries, some company buying some other stuff for something else. It's just um, uh, it's a huge loop in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not something that I'm like, ooh, yeah, crypto tokens, let's go. But apparently it's very interesting. And yesterday, right, because yesterday, of course, there was that WorldCoin Dan Ives chairman announcement, something, and that thing went up also 4,000% or so. But I do think that the bigger deal and the bigger news out of all of it was the following. Let me try and find it. And it's this right here. So the NASDAQ files with US SEC to enable trading of stocks in tokenized form. And I think this news is way bigger than whatever happened yesterday with the WorldCoin token and whatnot. Because this would, if this happens, and if this is going to happen, of course, on the Ethereum blockchain, then this validates what Tom Lee says, that the whole financial system is going to change. It's going to run on the Ethereum network. So I think this was huge news that maybe went under the radar because of the WorldCoin Octo whatever pump that happened yesterday, which I still find it quite sketchy. The fact that Dan Ives is chairman there is also, I don't know, to me raises some flags. Don't know which color, but some flags.
At least a flag for sure, or
Yeah.
some. All right, Neil. Neil, I want to take this super chat that I got really quickly. Would love to hear your thoughts, as I know you are an AMD shareholder. So, Brandon, first, appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the insight on these plays. Can you add some color to AMD's inference and how it can start to affect the stock price in the first half of 2026? Um, I, I mean, I think we've talked about it in the past. I think we both could say we're fairly more excited about the MI400. The MI400, which comes out in the second half of 2026, is where AMD is going to have a very highly competitive product, and not just AI inference, but AI training as well. Now, if we're looking at the first half of 2026, the biggest impact to AMD's inference will be the MI355, which just recently came out. There seems to be some strong adoption. We know Oracle is building a massive AI data center with the MI355s. Maybe we might get an update to them about that today, Neil. I know sometimes Oracle likes to show around how big its data centers are. So maybe that can overall, but I think for the MI355, it's more seeing the adoption with it. And if we start to see that revenue growth, at least in these upcoming quarters, then it can even project even a better improvement in the first half of 2026. So only thing we're really looking for here is how the MI355 is getting adopted. And improvements maybe in their ROCm software that can help kind of drive maybe some traction to the MI355 as well.
Yeah, I mean, we said it time and time again, and I know people say, "Oh, but look, it has come down." Yeah, of course it has come down. Look at how much it went up. I mean, this is a healthy pullback, which long-term investors should definitely welcome. The MI400 series is a game changer for AMD. They also have, I mean, like you said, Oracle is working quite close with them. OpenAI is working very close with it. Apparently, that's what they've been saying during the June Advancing AI event. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm still very bullish on it. I know there has been since last year, right, when they showed that slide that Meta, right, Meta for one specific model, AMD was the exclusive GPU that they use, and some people just ran with it that Meta is only using AMD for inferencing, and AMD is the best at inferencing. That made zero sense. Okay, Meta has a huge Nvidia cluster as well, and I hope people know that in inferencing, Nvidia is still a huge, huge player. Google's TPUs are an extremely good product here as well. That said, I still think AMD crushes the market from here on out.
I agree. It's definitely there's a lot of growth opportunity there for AMD. It's going to be a tough ride. But like you mentioned, one of the main reasons NVIDIA has a big inference lead right now is because of its NVL72 system. The ability to connect 72 GPUs and make it seem like one, it is crucial. AMD doesn't have anything like that right now. It's going to have something like that with the MI400. And that alone can help drive improved TCO dramatically for their chips. When you're seeing an improvement in TCOs, you're going to see hyperscalers say, you know what, I really want to test this out, because if I'm able to maybe reduce my dependency of a company like Nvidia, I'm going to do it. We see it with Microsoft, right? Microsoft doesn't want to just fuel one player if they don't have to. They would rather fuel anybody as long as they can get some form of return with it.
Agreed. Quick thank you here for Bender. I like Bender a lot. Thank you for the super chat. I discovered your channel while researching Nebius, so thanks, Nebius. Very grateful to your valuable
He's rich, Bender, though.
insight. Bender is rich. I mean, okay, Bender is a robot, can do whatever he wants. Many thanks to Jose as well. Aha, here you see, Jose, you even get thanks. Thanks here. Keep up the good work. Vive le roi et vive la Belgique. This is French for you. We speak here multiple languages on the stream. There was also something that I wanted to touch on, Intel related. I know. Intel, who
Oh my
cares
God,
about
it's supposed to
Intel?
be a good day. It's supposed to be a good day. Here we go. Next, we're going to talk about Oscar Health.
No. But Oscar Health has been making moves since you left to Florida, so thank you very much for that. But no, Intel, I mean, Libutan has been making some strategic moves inside of Intel. So they announced new key leadership appointments. I'll go over a couple very quick. So one, Kevork here is appointed to lead data center group. He has 30 years of industry experience and joins Intel from ARM.
Wow.
SoftBank, ARM, the $2 billion.
Yeah.
The dominoes keep falling in the right place. His previous leadership roles include senior engineering positions at NXP Semiconductors and Qualcomm. So they add another, in this case, engineering person, which is great. Jim Johnson has now been named to lead client computing group. So that's good. I like the guy. We've got here Srini, not going to butcher the other name. He joins Intel, well, did join already in June from Cadence Design Systems. Libutan was CEO of Cadence for a long time as well. So that's good. And of course, all three are directly going to report to Libutan. The guy is definitely making some big moves
Someone
at
from
Intel.
Micron there. Mm-hmm.
Yes, this guy is going to expand, is getting an expanded role, foundry leadership role. He joined Intel in 2024 from Micron. And then the previous co-CEO, Michelle Johnston, is leaving Intel after 3 decades with the company. She was previously also the chief executive of Intel Products. Is Intel a public company? It is a public company. And the US already has quite a good return on investment at the moment, which is not bad. But
What
yeah,
is this one sitting at right now, Neil?
24, 25, I think.
Nice.
So I like it. I mean, I like it very much. I think also more recently with the 18A, 14A comments, Libutan is playing 4D chess here. Like he knows exactly what he's doing, the way he sends messages to the industry. The only thing that Intel here needs is also one of those contract announcements from whatever big player. But the amount of times that we've seen the link Intel, ARM, SoftBank in the last couple of weeks tells me that something's going to happen pretty soon. Probably not with 18A, but we know that 14A is the one that we're waiting for. Okay, where we might be waiting until we get some commitments behind that. But here again, I think it's just a strategic way of saying, bring us the money. We think we have quite a good product here. But that's Intel. I don't want to bore you too much with
No,
Intel.
I actually have some Intel news as well. So they were yesterday they were at a conference, and I think last week they were also at a conference. And someone actually talked about the SoftBank money inflow and like what was the reason behind it. It seems like Libutan and Maya-san. Am I correct there? Is that the SoftBank guy?
Masayoshi-san?
Masayo.
It's my friend from SoftBank.
Yeah. They're really good friends. And they said he just found something at a very attractive price, and he wanted to hedge himself a little bit in the AI side, especially in the foundry business. So that's where the investment came in. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, for those unaware, I have $30 January 2027 Intel call options. I mean, if this thing goes to 40 in 2026, I am going to be very happy. I think I will commit to buying only Intel products by then.
And people in the chat are saying what's wrong with the Oscar. I don't think anything's wrong with the Oscar. I just mess with Neil because every single stream he wants to bring it up, even though it's red. Lately, it's been green, so maybe I'll give it a pass. But like for the whole month of July and August, he kept talking about it. But pretty cool. I have nothing against the healthcare market.
Yeah, for those that do not join us on a daily basis, basically, I talked about Oscar quite a lot.
It's like me and
every time
Marvel.
on the screen, it was red. It's like every single time. And then last week, Jose went to Florida, and as you can see, it went up and up and up and up and up. And now we're back above $20. Of course, there were also some positive comments from the company, and probably the subsidies are going to be extended as well. So that's pure upside for 2026. Quick shout out here to Ruslan for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. And I mean, we appreciate the support of everyone joining today or every other day out there as well. We do know.
And if you're new here, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. I know we have
notification bell is much better.
Notification bells or whatever and whatnot, as YouTubers tend to say.
Yeah. We do appreciate that. We know that a lot of you are coming from Amit's channel, and he left you again for some other things. No, jokes aside, I mean, Amit's market open, market close are pretty amazing. He does have a cowbell, which we don't, but we do have something better. We have Jose,
something.
We have Jose's ding ding.
We'll see. Oh my goodness. Uber short here. I like this. Individually, Jose and Neo are great together. The dual perspective are synergistic. Oh, that's exactly. Not the one I want to show, but Rise of the, I guess I clicked the wrong one.
No, I think we clicked at the same time, but I'm more powerful today. So my click is worth more.
No, Neil did. He with his Nebius gains, he got rich. He bought Media and fired him for the day. Give him the day off.
Exactly. We can maybe build an AI agent and like have Nvidia avatars as a third co-host here. Might be something to look at. But thanks you to Rise of the Phoenix for the super chat. We do appreciate that. We're hitting 1 million subscribers soon. I don't know about that. I don't know how old we will be if we do hit that, but don't worry, we will be as humble as we are today, and even funnier.
Oh man, this Roberto's Jose needs the Hispanic version of a cowbell.
What is the Hispanic version of a cowbell?
I am gonna be shameful, and I don't know. A pandereta. What is that? I gotta Google it.
El Polo Loco.
Oh, that. Okay, yeah, that is okay.
Could be.
All right, ding, 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 ding.
Exactly. This is how we do here. The
This
ding 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 is our version, our poor man's version of a cowbell. Is a self-made ding ding ding. But yeah, the market is open. The market is open. Your eyes should be focused here on the watch list. The heat map will update itself pretty soon. Right now, we see a lot more green than red. Nebius is up 50%. Iren up 8.5. CoreWeave 5.6. Applied Digital 4.1. Then we have United Health at 3.2. BMNR at around, what is it? 2.1. Reddit 2.1. And the rest are less than 1% up. Who's red? AST still red 3.8% after yesterday's Starlink acquisition announcement of, what was it? EchoStar, I believe.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It was still down about 4%. Did it pull up yesterday, Neil? Because did it go to like 35 yesterday or something like that?
It did. Yesterday, actually, did find quite a lot of buyers yesterday from the lows. So we got that green candle yesterday because it did go all the way to around 36. Then we finished up at 40, 41, but now we're down 5% on AST at the moment. Nebius, of course, with the huge gap up. I do wonder how many people will take profits today. Honestly,
let me just log into my account. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Honestly, if we do go to somewhere in the 80s or so, I'm going to. Anyways, I'm going to buy, I think, more shares this week. Question is how many? How many shares? Who else is running? Iren is up 28.
Some people are saying AMD. Well, only one person. I'm not going to say some people. Some people are saying AMD
is up 1.1. AMD is running. It's the same as AMD is tanking. So when AMD is tanking, it's only down 0.8%. But yeah, AMD is up 1.1%. So not by much. My big question here is, where is PayPal? PayPal is flat. Okay. PayPal is flat. I'll take flat PayPal over red PayPal. That's better. Our Google is still doing very well. Still doing very, very well. But yeah, any specific, someone wrote about dLocal, but dLocal is now recovering from that secondary offering that was an overreaction.
Oh, there we go. Someone was saying that they just, I don't know, Duolingo was the one they wished you didn't talk about. As long as he doesn't speak about Duolingo, and here we are.
Duolingo is up today, contrary to the last 1,000 days. Yeah, yesterday it was up actually also. So did it find the bottom? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, this thing doubled from the March lows and then went all the way back down. And today it's up a little bit, but that's about it. Transmedics is a name I haven't looked at in a long time actually on the channel. Seems like this was definitely a buying opportunity. Why is it up? Because I do believe they had an analyst conference. It's like after earnings season, you have a ton of analyst conferences from every company out there. I do believe that today after hours, Alex Chris, CEO of PayPal, has a talk with, I think Goldman or maybe someone else. But yeah, we're going to see that. We already seen it last week with AMD. Every time after the earnings season is over, you get a lot of analyst conferences, which is great. Because we do get more information, hopefully, not only repetitive stuff that they told us just a couple of weeks ago. What is Oracle doing? Oracle reports later today. Well, we're flat. What did you say yesterday, your prediction?
I said pretty much, I think flat, unless we get kind of like that crazy updates on the Stargate project. Because I don't think we still haven't gotten any Stargate added to the RPO itself.
No.
Um, if we get a good number added to the RPO, I wonder if it's just that number that they gave on the SEC filing as well. But still, if they just come out and say RPO is 100 and blah, blah, blah billion, thanks to the Stargate project, I think that can give us a nice rise, especially since we did pull back a little bit, right? It kind of hit, what was the top? 260 something, Neil? And we're now like at
260.
230. Yeah, 240. If we stay around these 240s and we get that RPO on Stargate, I think we can maybe test new highs. If we don't, then I'm going to go with more flattish here on Oracle.
Yeah, because I mean, Amit said yesterday, which if it does like an a Broadcom move, it's only because they suddenly give us new numbers for next year, something for the upside. We'll see. We'll see. What is this guy doing today? Down 5%. That's it. That's the coin thing from yesterday. Adobe is reporting Thursday after the market closes. Adobe is basically flat today, although could this be a double bottom at 330? Maybe.
Neil, did you listen to Figma reported already? What were your the stock? How is that doing? I remember. I think I was in vacation when this happened.
Correct. Figma did drop after earnings purely because growth deceleration. Growth is still doing well. Who's calling me? Growth is still doing well, but growth is decelerating. And it is an IPO, right? It's an IPO that has been, this is the price, $52. It went public at 33. It went public at 33, so we're still much higher than that initial price. I like it way more here, but I'm still not going to buy Figma right now. Plus, the thing we've talked about with Figma and Adobe is like, okay, Figma is growing fast. It has some AI tailwinds, and that's why it's bad for Adobe. Then we've got Figma is now growing a little bit slower than before. That's also bad for Adobe. So it's like it's a lose-lose case here for Adobe.
It's a lose, yeah.
Unless they prove the market wrong Thursday, which I do think they will because they're still growing. They're still extremely profitable. On the daily, Figma is oversold right now, so they might be seeing some buying action. Another name we talked about a lot that has been seeing some buying action is GitLab. After the earnings dump, it did recover. I mean, basically recovered all of the drop after earnings. So I think the same with Salesforce actually. So maybe some software name, yes, Salesforce as well is recovering nicely. So maybe the market is now turning a page on some software names. But Adobe is going to be interesting, very interesting.
Yeah. So Michael here was just talking. What do you think about Oracle after earnings? We kind of, Michael, if you just rewind 5 minutes. I think overall though, the long term with this AI infrastructure build out still being pretty heavy, I think we're going to see strong growth regardless on their cloud infrastructure side, and we're going to see some strong growth on the RPO side. I mean, they're a big player in the Stargate ecosystem, and since in the past quarter or so, Neil, I think we've heard OpenAI announced a lot of various country. I forget what they call it, Stargate for individual countries. But I think just this quarter alone, we might have heard about two or I completely forget already, but I think we've heard of at least two. So I think long term, Oracle can still grow in the cloud serving side. I don't remember where we're at in valuation. I still, if for Oracle, I still would want it to be cheaper than Microsoft and all those other players, just because it does come with mainly kind of that high debt, where all those other companies have a little bit more cash flow coming in, have a lot more investment, business diversification. So if we were to look at the next 12 months PE ratio for Oracle and kind of the cloud service providers, I would still like Oracle to be cheaper than them. But Oracle still has a bright future, especially with its partnership in OpenAI and the Stargate.
Agreed, agreed. And we are seeing a little bit of a pullback from the high flyers here. Nebius is now only up 40%, 41%, CoreWeave 8.5, and Iren 6.6 right now. Do I own any European stocks? Well, I consider Nebius a European stock since its HQ is in Amsterdam. So I guess I do own one. But that's about it. That's about it. Duolingo PE, trailing PE is 112. Forward is now much lower than that. And they are expected to grow earnings quite rapidly. In the next couple of years, they're expected to grow free cash flow 30% for the next 2 fiscal years, like every year. So it's expensive on a trailing basis. It's not that expensive when you look at the expected growth rate. Again, it's expected growth rate. Of course, it can change. That's the thing with forward-looking metrics here. And PE is, of course, based on analyst expectations, not the company's expectations.
Neil, quick, we're seeing a bit of a pullback. Not anything crazy on Nebius, right? We saw about $100, I think, yesterday after hours. I know you mentioned if there was a bit of a pullback, you might. This is when you're not worried about dollar cost averaging, and I 100% agree. This is still early innings, especially since you already have like a nice big core position. Now it's just more kind of building more over there. It's not like you're loading the truck right now. Where would you like this to be at for you to dollar cost average, or even if you were to buy right now, you really wouldn't be too upset?
Yeah, so I did buy right after the last earnings report, which was here. The stock jumped. I bought some extra shares at $66. That has zero issues averaging up, because the information that I got from the earnings report and the call made me comfortable buying more shares at a higher price. Now with the news from yesterday, look, this is a huge jump, 40% in a day. I will average up this week. The question here is how many shares and at what price? Because tomorrow we do have inflation data. Now, it can go both ways. It can be good data, which means the market will go up. It might be bad data, markets might go down. Bad data could be good data, but bad for the market, and vice versa, right? Because we're in that phase now where inflation, the data needs to be good for the Fed to cut rates, not bad for the Fed not to cut rates. We're in this weird situation where good is bad, bad is good. And so we'll see with Nebius. In the 80s, I'll definitely, like low 80s, I'll definitely be buying more shares. If we do stay for the next couple of days around the prices that we're at right now, I'll anyways buy, but maybe a bit less. The chunks that I will be buying will be a bit less. And then, of course, if we go even lower into the 70s, then I'll buy even more. But for that to happen, it will have to pull back quite a lot. Quite a lot, yeah.
Yeah, a stock we don't talk about too much, or not, we're not necessarily a huge fan of. Brent's wondering, Jose, if you're up right now with SMCI, do you sell now or wait? I mean, Brent, I would say this is a very personal question, just because it all depends on the bullish thesis that you might have. For me, right, Neil, I understand the bullish case of more AI servers growing in this market, and the demand for AI GPUs. And obviously, you have companies like Supermicro, which is good with this, which is also good with the liquid cooling side, which is now really taking off thanks to the high power GPUs. The only thing for me is this is a very, very competitive market. So my bullish thesis probably wouldn't be the same as yours, Brent. Maybe you have a completely different bullish thesis. But for me, there's just too much competition. We've seen margins continue to go down a bit. I do believe that kind of indicates the reality of the competition. So for that, I don't know. I feel like there's some better place for me as an investor based on what I follow than a super micro. So I think, Brent, it's just more understand your thesis, right, Neil? And go ahead. Sorry for interrupting you.
No. I sorry for interrupting you. I'm surprised that we are still here in the 40s. It seems like it is holding up on that. What is it, 200 day moving average? it's not that surprising either, because I did see a report. I think when we saw this drop right here, where the shenanigans inside the companies have still not been fixed.
So it still has some
I
shenanigans
I mean,
happening there.
even remember earlier this year when they just filed on time with that buzzer beater. It was still written that they are still working on the remedies inside the company. So they only filed on time but didn't change anything inside the company. And the fact that it's still the same issues right now is just mind-blowing stuff. But also, of course, it doesn't help that guidance has been revised down every single quarter by a couple of billions of dollars, right? Remember, fiscal or calendar year 26 guidance was supposed to be $40 billion. It's now 26 or something like that. So plus, it's a very, very low
Yeah.
margin business. Very
And
low.
and kind of going with the discussion of margins, right? If this company right now is making double the revenue it did last year, and I know that's probably one of the bullish cases. This company is jumping almost double in revenue, also 100% revenue growth. But if your margins compared to a year ago is 50% less, you're pretty much making the same amount of money with just more revenue. So some people might say, but the price to sales has kind of um it's a lot cheaper now than it was before. But that's why it's important to kind of look at other things, like why has the price of sales decreased dramatically? If you look at maybe another metric like margins, if it has kind of increased or decreased in the same rate, maybe that's the thesis there, right? That's the thesis breaking. You might be making more sales, but it's crazy that if you're making double the sales but still making about the same amount of money, I understand why maybe the company isn't growing as much, because that's the power of margins. And maybe sometimes just looking at one metric like price to sales could be a very bad indication of the business itself.
Correct. Like there is no point in saying, oh, this company is generating a boatload of revenue, but that boatload of revenue, until it reaches the bottom line, there's nothing
Mhm.
left. Then what's the point? Um,
I agree there, Neil. But again, like it's very rare for me to be bearish on the company. I would never say I think this stock is going to go down. It's just, am I bullish enough to invest? That's how I go with it. And for super micro, I'm not bullish enough to go into a position right now.
yeah, that's the thing. We're not bearish, super micro. We're just not seeing why we should be invested in it,
Mhm.
because you're investing in super micro because you want to ride up the AI wave. But if you want to ride up the AI wave, there are so many other better companies out there that you can ride the AI wave with higher margins, with better growth stories, and let's be honest, with less baggage than super micro.
Yo-Yo's mentioning, and Yo-Yo, Elon Musk has Supermicro for his AI data centers. Their products is decent. I do believe there's this big YouTuber, I forget his name. He's more of like a tech reviewer, and he
Hmm.
goes to a lot of data centers that let him in, and a lot of those data centers that he actually goes in are Supermicro. But now that I think about it, I think Supermicro sponsors those videos, so that's
Yeah,
the
they
reason
did
behind it.
the
They do
Colossus,
sponsor.
the
Yeah,
thing, the
yeah.
Colossus. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Um,
Uh,
but never mind. I think Supermicro sponsors those videos with that big YouTuber, so I'll take that back.
for you, just a special for you, Jose, Oscar is down 2.3%. Just a
I'm
special one
sorry,
for
I'm
you.
back, Neil. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Back to Florida tomorrow. Um, let's
I,
see.
I wanted to talk to you about this. I don't know if you saw
Hmm.
this, Neil.
Yes,
There's been
1.3.
reports. Yeah, I don't. Has it been confirmed, or is it more just still? Um,
I
I don't
think
think a
it's
company would.
confirmed.
Oh, has it been? Okay, so ASML, European giant, going investing a nice amount of money um into Mistral. For those that are not familiar, or Mistral, I'm pretty sure I butchered either or of those names. 1.3 billion euros in this AI labs. What AI labs and ASML's EUV machines are too far apart that no type of investment is going to push a company to buy more ASML machines. Is there any real thinking of what's happening here, or is just ASML saying, look, I need to invest in an AI venture? This is going to be the way it is. It doesn't really have to do anything with my products.
I mean, first of all, they are now the largest shareholder of Mistral, 11% stake. They said the following: for ASML, the goal isn't to build a European open AI, but to integrate generative AI into its chip making equipment. The CEO said the aim is to flood the entire organization with
Oh,
AI,
wow.
improving performance and speeding up product development. So I guess they like it so much that they decided to take an 11% stake in the company.
This is crazy, Neil. I feel like ASML is one of those that their CFO tends to be very careful on how he invests. Even with buybacks, we've seen them be very
Mhm.
critical. So it tells me for ASML to do an investment this big, makes me a little bit more bullish in AI just because it's ASML. It's ASML. It's some unique way of AI solution being used in some business that if ASML can do something beneficial with AI right here, how can people be saying that other companies can't do that? This is such a niche market with what ASML does. If AI integration can help out its systems, and we know from Nvidia has done something like this with TSM and their their lithography. I forget what they call it. They also even kind of created something in their CUDA platform for it as well. But yeah, this is interesting. And for them to, again, just for the investment amount, based on how their CFO is a bit stingy, usually, and then to be able to integrate it into their own solutions, which is very, very unique, just kind of shows the overall transformation of AI right now.
Yeah, but it is an interesting move because I never thought ASML would be making these types of investments. Like you said, they are usually very, very strategic about the capital allocation here. But I guess, again, I guess for they like it so much. So, of course, European companies, CEO is French, Mistral is French. Maybe there's a French connection here. But yeah, good. Again, everything we talk about for the last couple of, I mean, God knows how long, I'm not seeing a top, right? We've seen a lot of talks about, oh, AI is topping. We were nearing a top. I don't think we are near a top. I actually think we're quite close to seeing accelerations for various companies out there. Um, but hey, if the market wants to pull back a little bit again on some made up fears, I'll take it. I'll take uh, I'll take all of it. Someone did say that we're getting jobs revision data in 10 minutes. So we'll see if that moves the market. When that gets announced, if you see the numbers before we do post them in the chat, s'il vous plaît. Let's see. Nebius is in the 80s now. Interesting. So we are seeing a very nice push. So a lot of profit taking. Right now.
I mean, which isn't, I mean, not necessarily the dumbest thing, right? Some people bought in, what was it? Is that April where it was like in $20, Neil?
Correct.
So that's already what, more than a four banger.
More than a 4x, yeah.
I mean, I did it with Corey, so I would never say anybody's dumb for taking profits on a four bagger. But yeah, I mean, long term, this deal is bullish for it. Short term, the reaction with the sell-offs and people taking profits, I don't think is unreasonable either.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like you said, if you bought here, it's a 4-bagger. Even if you bought here, you doubled your money in what, 2 months or so. If you want to take profits, why not? Why not? BMNR is up 1.7 for those that are interested. Palantir is also up today, 1.3, so holding that 50-day moving average line quite well. Actually, literally on the dot, it like stuck to it. PayPal is red. God damn it. PayPal is red. Uber, where is Uber today? Uber is...
And this actually, Mistral's AI model could be embedded inside ASML's tools like a productivity enhancer. That's pretty, I mean, I wish I knew the workflow of it, but if in theory, in the future, right, you can go to your Tesla or whatever kind of autonomous vehicle and say, hey, drive me to this location. Why can't in the future, again, there's a lot more engineering behind it, but with an ASML machine, why can't you go, hey, build me this type of chip with this type of design, blah, 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 and do like a little bit more voice command and maybe some integration there with it. So it could also just be some form of AI agent there that could help with the maintenance of things or certain things. So yeah, it's interesting to see how this world is evolving with AI solutions being integrated into real world products.
Especially these huge companies like ASML, which are extremely important in the
Hmm.
semiconductor industry,
Yeah,
which in turn is, of course, important for the AI industry.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think that's what stands out the most, right, Neil? This is not just some random AI startup. It's an actual company that's been living for massive and has this massive monopoly in this space. So for them to be doing this, I think it gives even more of credibility to the changes that AI can bring, opposed to maybe if it was like a SoundHound. Sorry if you're a SoundHound investor, but to a SoundHound, if they introduce some form of AI solution and be like, oh, okay, they're just trying something new.
yeah. Um, for those asking, the local is making its way back up. Why isn't it up more after an amazing earnings report? You have to ask Mr. Market, but I am still extremely bullish on this small, fast-growing, very profitable uh, company right now. Um, DS asking here, do I have to pay for? You don't have to pay for TradingView. You just have to sign in, and then you will not get all of these notifications. But you are limited, and this is I'm not paying for TradingView. We're not sponsored either. But if they want, you can sponsor us. Um,
Let them know,
but
Neil.
yeah, exactly. I will let them know. But you are also limited, I think, 2 indicators and 30 stocks on your watch list or something like that for the free version, which I think is good enough. I think it's good enough.
Um, we do have some interesting news coming out later tonight. So it seems like TSMC's monthly sales report, um, which could definitely make some small movement or um, volatility in the semiconductor space tomorrow.
Do you think we'll be surprised?
This would be for what? August? No, would it be for August? Yeah, would it be August numbers?
I think so.
I think I think so. It's getting for that holiday season. I think we might see a nice maybe uptrend a little bit. But long term, I think TSM is just killing it. I haven't even seen the stock in a while, but I know it's demolishing.
Let's see. It is at all-time highs.
All time highs. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it is at all-time highs. I wonder what these smaller fintech names are doing. Chime has pulled back significantly from their. They also went public back in June, and that thing is basically almost cut in half. It might be time to look into that one. Sezzle, another buy now pay later player, also interesting. What is my Chinese guys doing? Alibaba, okay, making our way back to 150, which was basically where they were in March. So hopefully not a double top here. Hopefully not a double top for Alibaba.
Yeah, are Nebius profit takers going into CoreWeave?
Seems like it, Jose. What have you done?
uh,
I saw you were looking at your phone real quick. I think you just shorted Nebius and put everything into CoreWeave. What is
it's a
this?
CoreWeave. No, 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 no. I would not short.
um,
Anything in the AI market, 100% would not short. Any news like this can come out for any random player after hours, and you're screwed.
that is true. That is true. Or you only have to mention Nvidia in a blog post, and I think that also usually helps these days. Um, New Holdings has been doing very well since the last earning. Well, since the earnings report, this thing went from $12 to now 15.4. So, congrats, congrats on that.
Neil,
The
someone's
yellow
wondering,
line is a
yeah,
50-day
50,
moving average.
200, and what else you kick? I'm guessing,
No, this one is
no,
50, 100, 200.
50, 100, 200. Very
Yeah,
nice, very
simple
nice.
day, simple moving average in this case. Um, Reddit keeps on killing it. This might be like a cup and handle pattern. I do wonder who came up with all of these names. But yeah, Reddit has been doing very well. Also, traffic-wise, I think they were one of the few that were up, that saw their traffic to their website go up, which is quite something in this LLM age.
Yeah, I wonder if I know one thing that they've talked about is kind of more licenses deal of their data. I think they had something with Google. I wonder if that's still, again, I don't follow it, but obviously with this AI age and all these companies training crazy models, I wonder if that's still a nice opportunity for them.
Agreed. Is there like a name that we are not seeing here that has been talked about a lot? I don't know.
I'll just check CNBC now. I know we're going to get the numbers pretty soon, or just on X really quickly. So I know some people are wondering about that. I'll let you do all the talking.
Yeah, so okay, AST is down 7% today. Rocket Lab down a little bit, 2% here as well. NVDA space yesterday was also down, and it's still down today because they had an agreement with EchoStar, and now that EchoStar has been acquired by SpaceX Starlink, they lost that, but the backlog apparently is still the same. So my question here is, if the backlog is still the same, why such a big pullback? Why such a big pullback? Unless this means that future potential contracts will not be won by MDA Space because they cannot work anymore with EchoStar. I don't know.
It seems US 2025 preliminary benchmark payrolls revisions subtract 911,000, which is the biggest on record.
How can you be this wrong? It's like, imagine you're a company reporting, oh, we generated $30 billion in revenue. A month later, actually, it was 20. Sorry about that. That's insane. Like, I don't understand why, like in 2025, there is such a big difference. And the consensus number was 800,000. I mean, this is something else. Benchmark, and these are preliminary benchmark payrolls revisions. They subscribed 911,000, lower than the 800,000, biggest on record. This is crazy. But it does not seem like it's impacting the stocks here that much for now.
Yeah, our index is moving. I mean, I think that's where we'll probably see the bigger, to see if there's really an impact right now.
Let's see. Did you find any interesting talking head on CNBC? Let's see. The markets are still green at the moment. So Nasdaq is flat. Okay, it's flat basically across the board. Flat across the board. Let's see if we can. Actually, let me do this. Indices. So the S&P did. Let's look at the 2 minutes one. Move along. So it seems like, yeah, it did drop a little bit, but not by much.
I'm going to share a screen, Neil. We have some talking heads.
You have some talking heads.
Yeah.
Coming off of that weaker employment data last week, let's see how they react to the job revisions in just a moment. The 10-year yield lower, though, now. There is a little bit of a turnaround, 4.04%. Guys, there's this narrative in the markets now around stagflation, which just means slower growth and higher inflation as a risk. I'm going to push back against it with some of the data that we got today. Just put it on your radar. The Small Business Survey. That's NFIB optimism. We get it every month. And guess what? It showed another improvement. The outlook. The number getting a little...
I'd go back 25 years here. This may be the biggest revision ever, Sarah. Minus 911,000 payroll growth from April of 2024 through March of 2025 is 911,000 less than previously reported. what has happened now to the month over month, or the monthly growth rate has gone from what we thought was 147,000 a month to now just 70,000 a month. So 1.7 million jobs is now 847,000 jobs created over that period. So over that time period, payrolls were quite a bit weaker. Remember, this is the period ending 5 months ago. This is the annual benchmark revisions that's done every year. This is a preliminary number. Over time, it tends to actually be revised a little bit higher. The revision to the revision ends up being a little bit higher, but right now it's suggesting much weaker payroll growth. I will point out that this is definitely toward the high side of what I've seen from Wall Street analysts. And now you have to plug in you have to start thinking about, what does this say about today? In other words, this data is 5 months old. We won't know until the final revisions in February which month each of the weakness belongs to, but we do know a bit about which industries it belongs to. And we have a chart here, 880,000 from the private sector. The biggest revision came from trade, transportation, and utilities of 226,000, 126,000 off in retail. Leisure and hospitality down 176,000. Professional business services down 158,000. So widespread in the, I don't see it here. Not a lot in private education and health services, which was a big, you can see the recent revisions there. The second biggest revision that I have, Sarah, in my records is 2009 in the wake of the great financial crisis. And what had happened in that situation was some of the modeling was wrong. Some of the birth, death of businesses was wrong. This may be the case right now. We might have come into this year with much more weakness than we thought we had in the job market. It was okay. It seemed to be like the unemployment rate remained relatively stable. So whatever we were doing was okay to keep the unemployment rate, a separate survey, relatively low, but we were not creating as many jobs as we thought. And I know that some Fed officials, Chris Waller among them, think this is part of a broader story of weakness in the job market that should cause the Federal Reserve to cut. And we'll see what happens now to the, I don't know if we're able to get you right away an update on Fed funds futures, but certainly the market was primed for 325 basis point cuts this year. And we'll see if I could take a look right now to see if there's any more play on a 50. And there isn't, and there probably shouldn't be. I don't know that this will motivate Fed officials to do more, but it will motivate them to do something.
Right. Those were my two takeaways, Steve. Number one, this sort of ratifies the idea that they should cut next week, and that job growth has stalled and has slowed and looks even worse than they originally expected. And the last few months have been weaker. And then the second is my question about the process. So how were we almost 1 million jobs short in terms of, there have been questions lately about how this process, this data, the president raised it, he fired the BLS chief. Does this feed into those concerns about how the data was so off?
I think it should, and I'll tell you why, Sarah, because when I look at the history of these as a percentage of payrolls, actually they do a pretty good job when you look at the revisions as a percent, 0.1, 0.2, it's averaged about 0.3. This is 0.6. This is double the average. So, and let me just see if I can find out the last couple of years. Yeah, I said it was 0.4 in 2024. So the last couple of years have been quite a bit above average in terms of the amount of revision. What's happening here is we're getting jobless claim insurance data from the states. I don't know if the problem is at the state level or if it's at the federal level. Whatever it is, there's something not going quite as well as it used to go in terms of the ability of the BLS to gather monthly data. Here's the process, Sarah, which I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if anyone is that wrong on a job, you are probably getting fired.
They didn't talk about chips, so everything just went here.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we are, NASDAQ is pulling back a little bit. The names that we follow, Nebius is in the 80s. Nebius is in the 80s. Big red candle now, profit taking, still up 35%. CoreWeave still up 8.5, Iren 6.4. I mean, I talked a little bit yesterday about a potential 50 basis point cut in September. Right now, it's the probability of a cut is 100% for September. The question is, what are we ending the year at? 25 basis points cut, or 50 and 25, or 25 and then 50? This is I guess the question that we will get an answer for next week. I think it's next week. Going back to what I said before with the Reddit thing. So month-over-month growth rate of the top 10 websites in the world. You have ChatGPT at number 1, Reddit is number 2, and YouTube is number 3. The fastest growing websites with the most visits in August 2025. X is down 1%, Facebook down 1.1%, Google 0.69%, WhatsApp.com. I don't know who goes to WhatsApp.com, but okay.
I didn't even know they had a website.
Like WhatsApp.com. I don't know. I know there's web.whatsapp, but okay, fine. So this is basically it. This, I mean, again, proves that Reddit has quite a lot of momentum right now with regards to the traffic. And so I'm not surprised to see it up another 2.2% today. And the rest has basically not changed that much since the numbers came out. So we'll see. We'll see.
We got some questions coming in, and feel free to get any questions to us just to share our thoughts on stocks. So we have Alaskan Puppy here. Jose, any thoughts on Navitas? Neil, I think we've talked about Navitas in the past. I mean, there's definitely the excitement with the partnership with Nvidia. I think right now in the AI space, there's definitely a little bit more potential, at least right now. I think the trend is still in kind of these PowerShell companies and kind of these AI infrastructure companies, these cloud service provider companies. That's where I put a lot of my focus in. I think eventually we're going to see a little bit more excitement for Navitas. We saw from their earnings that the actual revenue boost that they see, at least for the next few years, is not as much as some are expecting. I don't know if they're being extremely conservative here, Neil. If they're being extremely conservative, then I can see that. I can see the pull side right now, but I think right now this is more of like a speculative play right now. It takes some time to get actual numbers with this Nvidia product. So if I'm an investor, if I was an investor of Navitas, I would be patient on this one. It's not something that I think will show crazy growth in forms of financials next quarter. The stock price will be very volatile, but for long term, I think there's still time for it, Neil. Navitos. Navitos. It's not Navitas.
What? Really?
That's what Austin here is saying.
Navitos.
Navitos.
Is it like a Scandinavian Is it a Scandinavian company? Why would it be like a TOS set? Like, huh? That is quite strange.
And then we have, it seems people want me to go back to Florida, Neil. It seems their calls are not doing that well.
Yeah.
No. I don't know what's dropping right now.
Nebius did drop. So, I mean, it's under 90. So I guess let me buy.
David's saying Navitas surely. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go listen to their earnings call real quick and come back.
Yeah, I mean, I would be very surprised why it would be Navitos, like TOS, Navitos, like toes, Cheetos. Yeah, but Cheetos is because it ends with TOS. Like imagine, like cheetahs, the animal would be something else.
It's Navitas. I just checked.
Yeah, of course it's Navitas. Like, why would it be Navitas? That's a strange thing. T-Dub, thank you for a super chat. Do you think rate cuts are bullish for tech? Should be. Of course, cutting rates aggressively because the economy is in shambles is probably not that great. But bigger picture, rate cuts do usually help. Yes, do usually help. Plus, we're still quite high, all things considered. So a 25 basis point cut will bring us a little bit lower.
We got we have a whole conversation going on here between Navitos. But with that rate cut, I
Jesus.
mean, it definitely would be good for companies with high debt. I mean, or companies that should be expecting to build debt in the future. You're going to be paying less for that debt. I'm looking at you, CoreWeave. I mean, paying less
Helps
on
with
interest if
loans.
they, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, loans, housing, etc., etc. So yeah, it helps. Definitely, it will definitely help the small caps for sure. Should help fintech companies. Will help SoFi. Of course, there are a lot of companies that do make quite a lot of money because interest rates are so high, right? Interest income generating companies like a Circle, for example, the stable coins companies. Um, but all in all, it should be good. But then again, I already see the questions coming in. Oh, the Fed just cut rates. Why is the market going down? Probably because the market is already pricing in a 25 basis point cut. Then yeah, it depends. A 50 basis point cut could be bearish. I don't know. It depends on the comments, on the commentary behind. Like, why did they choose 50 basis points now and not 25? Don't forget that the last time we cut rates was quite a long time ago. So maybe there is some catching up to do, which I do think there is. I do think there is some catching up to do.
That I mean, that's the crazy thing about the market right now. It's all about expectations. It's like, oh yeah, 0.25 might be bullish, but 0.50 might be, oh, we're a little bit too late, so it'll be bearish. It's crazy to understand what the market is expecting and what it has priced in already. And that's, I think, also the fun thing about investing.
Agreed.
Yeah. Marco's saying it here pretty good. If Oracle is in such debt, then lowering interest rates would be helpful for them. I agree. I think for a lot of these players, it would be obviously pretty helpful, especially in the AI infrastructure side right now.
Correct. Quick. If there are any other questions, I'll just go over the names. I did buy some extra Nebius right now. 15 shares for now of Nebius. So hopefully it does go up. If it goes up, it's thanks to me. If it goes down, it's because of me.
Yeah. So regardless, thank you, Neil.
Exactly. CoreWeave is up 8%. Iren up 9% right now. So it did see quite a lot of buying action from the $27. United Health up 3.5%. Applied Digital 3.2%. Reddit 2.4%. BMNR is now only up 1%. Palantir 1.5%. Meta 1.4%. New 1.1%. AMD 1.5%. D-Local 2.2%. Google is almost up 1% at, where is it? 0.85. Micron is up 0.5. Amazon flat. Duolingo is still up for now. Nvidia, let's call it flat. Intel is down 0.3. Uber 0.9. Zeta 0.6. HIMS is down 1.8. So it's now at that 50-day moving average. They try to go above it, which is $50. No success for now. Apple, doesn't Apple have a
Is it today?
a
The event today?
conference?
Yeah.
I think so.
They're gonna showcase some new liquid button. I don't know what they're gonna do.
The new iPhone, no? I mean, it's already been leaked, I think so. It's the new iPhone. Marvell is flat, I would say. PayPal is now down 0.5%. SoFi 0.6%. Hood 0.8%. Novo Nordisk 2%, Oscar 2%, Rocket Lab 2.7%, and AST is at 8, down 8% right now. Special thanks also to Roberto. Jose, please share your thoughts on Credo.
Yeah, Roberto, no thoughts on these right now. Just pretty much, I know they focus in the networking side with the AI and communication with AI chips. I don't want to provide wrong information. This is Credo and Astera Labs are two on my two research list, even though they both run up. It's more to just understand the ecosystem opposed to just an investment theory. I think they've run up too much for me, but I still want to understand a little bit more about the technology behind them, which I lack in this space. And I do believe it's critical to understand for AI semiconductor investors.
Lastly, what do we think? What do I think? I like the company. I think they'll do very well. I don't own it because I have a lot more of Mercado Libre for Latin America plus the local, but New Holdings is a tremendous company with great leadership for sure. Thank you guys for joining us today. We really appreciate that. Of course, the more people that join us, the better and the funnier it gets here.
Yeah. Somebody said they like my humor. I'm just being serious, but I guess my humor is serious.
One day we will be streaming from Comedy Central or whatever it's called. Market open in a comedy club. That's going to be a first here. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. We are doing this almost every day, every morning. But for those that are amidst refugees here, we welcome you with open arms. We welcome you with
the mute refugee back. Yeah.
With open arms. What about Verstappen? He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. What a race. Faster than everyone on Sunday. McLaren are probably under pressure. Norris is going to bottle it. And that's about it for me today. Jose, any final words before we sign off and we start our day? Well, you start your day. I will be almost ending mine.
No, nothing. Just thank you guys for joining. Is Amit doing closing today? If not, I don't mind taking refugees again.
I don't know, because the event for Robinhood is probably later today. So I don't know if he will be gambling in Vegas or still at the summit. So you might be getting the refugees today, because I will be playing tennis later.
No, Neil.
I
No.
cannot cancel my game. All
It's
too late to cancel now. But if I beat them quickly, I might come. I might.
All right. Yeah. And if you lose quickly, just come and lie to us and say you beat them quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah. So no final words unless those were my final words. Yeah.
Okay. Apparently, Amit is not doing the close, so there you go. Jose will be here with Oracle and maybe another Oracle investor joining him. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see each other later today for the close and or tomorrow for